it was just like a hornet's nest. And we were at ground zero. We just happened to be the team, with the front row seat of all this violence. But we started looking at targets. We inherited targets from fifth group. They did a great job. They were working all of these target sets. So they passed these tips, target intelligence packets of these individuals. And that's what we really had to work off of initially. It's like, okay, well, these are the guys that are significant enough. They've been hunted for the last 8 months to a year. So let's start looking at these guys and see if we can maybe have better luck, because fifth group didn't have luck getting them. So we kind of started with one of the guys at the top of the list. His name was Dia. And so we were doing a lot of manhunting. We were doing a lot of targeting initially. And then, so we were successful with that. And that kind of just broke things open, was when we were able to capture that guy. And it was a Shia target set. And the intel that we received off of that, it just really kind of spiraled. And it was success for us. It was like one of our first big successes. It was a daylight hit. A lot of us were in civilian clothes. It just really kind of set up the rest of the rotation. So we were doing a lot of manhunting for the rest of that rotation. And we also had a relationship with the 101st Airborne Division, who were co-located. I mean, we weren't on the same compound. We had separation with these big ass walls and all that type of stuff. But we had our brothers from the 101st that were responsible for Adamia, and they worked with the Iraqi army. So a lot of the things that we got into was in support of our brothers from the 101st, because when we first got there, they came over and we had a relationship, and it was like, hey, we spend a ton of time in Adamia. We just wanted to know, with you guys, the new Special Forces team, if we get into trouble, you guys are like our fastest response. Will you respond and help us? And we were like, fuck yeah, we will. And they were like, well, we just had to ask because you guys are probably doing your little secret squirrel shit or whatever. We just wanted to know, like, if we get into a no shit gunfight and we need help, will you come? We're like, hell yeah, we will. And then we had the same agreement with us. It was like, hey man, we roll out typically 2 gun trucks, 6 dudes, maybe 7 with an interpreter. If we get into something, will you come help us? And they were like, absolutely, man. So a big part of the rest of that rotation was, the 101st getting into some of these serious engagements, and then we would come and help them if they wanted our help. So that kind of played a big role. So it was a lot of manhunting and a lot of working with the 101st and trying to really solidify that relationship that we had with them.
Could you share a story from each of those contexts? One where they back you guys up QRF wise, and then one where you guys react to one of theirs?
Our first target set, the DIA mission, and we did that. We executed that right outside Solder City. We asked them to be, basically kind of like our assault force, or, like, hey, be a QRF, be extra guns on the ground for us. So we did ask them. That was something that we did joint. And that was successful. They did a good job. Something we did respond to a few of their TICs, troops in contact. And the biggest one from the book is April 17th, 2006. We woke up that morning, all hell was breaking loose at Apache. And we could tell, man, it was a significant gunfight. It was, it was like, damn.
About how many 101st guys at a time are going out? Or I guess in this case, how many of their troops were there?
I think they had maybe like a platoon size element that was out, close to a platoon size.
Which is how many for the listener?
Close to 30 guys, somewhere probably 25, 30 guys that they had out. And they were with their Iraqi army counterparts. So April 17th, the morning, all hell's breaking loose. We reached out to them on the radio and say, hey, sounds like you guys are in a pretty good firefight. And by that point, we were kind of addicted to that. Like, hey, this is our opportunity to go out and sling some lead with these guys. And we spent so much time trying to find bad dudes. And it's like, well, they found them. Like, they're out there fighting them. So we can keep fucking around and writing reports and trying to find them the hard way, or we can just go out there and help kill these dudes and kind of be done with it, you know?
Yeah.
That's the way that I looked at it anyway. But we called them on the radio and said, hey, you guys need anything? And they're like, nope, we're good. We got it. It's like, okay. So, and this kind of goes back to 04, 05 and not being arrogant and taking advantage of opportunities, because you never know. So we had an administrative convoy that day. We were dropping off an interpreter at BIOP, Baghdad International Airport, to go back home and see his family. We were getting turret upgrades, because I don't know if you remember, like the 06 time period, we kind of had the regular setup, and they were starting to install big thick ass glass, to help protect the gunner even more. So we were going to get some of the glass installed on the turrets, and we were going to do that at BIOP. And I think we were going to pick up some supplies, and then we were going to come back to base. Total administrative convoy. But, you still got to be ready if all hell breaks loose. And we were dropping, we had a meeting in the green zone. So we were dropping one of the guys off, and we left Apache. We went to the green zone. We dropped off our guy for a meeting, and we were getting ready to leave the green zone on Route Irish, which we always enjoyed Route Irish, man, because we could just haul ass on Route Irish. But we were getting ready to hit Route Irish to go to BIOP, and we got the call. And it was my team leader. He was calling me. We had these like a little embassy issued cell phones. And he's like, hey, man, I don't know where you guys are at, but the 101st just called. They do need help. Are you able to help them? Where are you at? I was like, shit, man, we're in the green zone. We're getting ready to hop on Route Irish to go to BIOP. Do they really need our help? Because we just talked to them not that long ago. And he's like, yeah, man, they need some help. And it was like, okay. I knew the answer, but I still felt like, as the team sergeant, I thought it'd be appropriate to kind of do like a little huddle. Because when you're asking guys for something like this, like to go into a known gunfight and all hell's breaking loose, I thought it was important to get that buy-in. I was like, hey, man, the 101st guys, they do need some help. Are you guys down to go back and help them? I'm down. And every man that was there was like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. So we called back and said, hey, let's coordinate everything on the radio, tell them we're inbound, and got a little bit of instructions. And we headed back to Adamiyah and linked up. We initially linked up with the Iraqi army. And what we had dealt with, this is April, but what we had dealt with from January to April was a lot of harassment, hit and run type shit. They didn't really want to go toe to toe with the U.S. Army. A lot of sneak and peek type shit. It's just they hit, they run off, and they kind of bleed back into the environment. But this day, it was overcast. I think they knew that we didn't have any air support, and they were a little frisky. They were wanting to fight, and they were wanting to go toe to toe. And when we got there and linked up with the Iraqi army, I wanted to find out where everybody was. RPGs, PKM, AK, like they had a little bit of everything for us that day. But I linked up with the Iraqi army. They told me where the 101st leadership was, the 101st element. I wanted to link up with them, do a face-to-face, because we didn't want to kill any of our own people. And then linked up with the 101st, and they said the same thing. It was like, hey, man, these guys are maneuvering. And they were worried. They didn't want to get sucked into something and then they couldn't get back out. That was always a concern in Adamiyah, because, some of those roads in Baghdad, the streets are so tight. There's shit everywhere. It's a 360-degree urban environment. You don't know where people are, windows, rooftops, alleys, streets, cars, there's fucking people everywhere. But I linked up with the 101st, and it was basically like from here to here is bad guys. If you see guys out, like it's bad guys. There's no friendly Iraqi police. There's no friendly Iraqi army. There's none of us. If you see someone armed, it's a bad guy. Kill it.